on anybody who's going to buy a second home in Vermont and not live here and not be part of our economy. So if that house is, if they're going to pay $500,000 for that house, make it $1.5 million, and the extra $1 million in tax, that $1 million in tax goes to the state of Vermont to be given directly as grants to young Vermonters who grew up here and need to buy a house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, no one's voting for me because I'm not running, but that's okay. You know, but I'm telling you that we need to do something about this problem, because economically we are in a position, where we're located on the map, that we've got a massive economic problem with all of these people from out of state that have massive amounts of money buying up every house we've got.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yep.
Great perspective, man.
Thank you.
You know, and there's plenty that will agree and plenty that will disagree with what you're saying, but
I'm sure. And, I'm not saying that my opinion is 100% correct. It's not thoroughly researched. I'm not a politician. It's not my job to do this full time, but it's a start. And it's one perspective, and I respect other people's opinions and other people's perspectives, and they may have very good points. If we could get everybody on the phone here on the air, that would be great. But I think that we all need to respect each other's opinions, because everybody has something to contribute to this conversation. And but we're going to have to we're going to have to come up with some solutions. And currently, it hasn't happened yet. Thank God, we've got a more functional government now that the supermajority is gone, and the governor actually has a veto power again, and things are a little more balanced than they were. I mean, the progressives still have a majority, but they don't have a supermajority. So at least things are getting back to a more reasonable situation.
I'm going to jump on another call here, buddy. I appreciate you so much. What do you say? What do you say about all this?
Are you still on there?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, so I'm a builder, and I disagree with this whole thing about, like, this is other people's problems and out-of-state people that is causing the building prices, because it's not. I literally just got done a 2,800 square foot house for myself to turn around and sell. It cost me $50,000 for the piece of land, because it was developed piece of land, which was a half an acre, had it had power right there, sewer right there, no water. We bought the 0.11 acre next to it. That was another $17,000. So there's $67,000 before I even start my infrastructure. I spent another $330,000 on materials and labor to build it. Tell me again how I'm supposed to build a 2,800 square foot house for $200,000. Let's be real. Those days are gone. Those days are long gone, and it has nothing to do. It has to do with supply and demand. If there's no houses on the market, and one house comes on the market and there's 30 people looking to buy, what happens? Am I wrong in that thinking, or are we going to just keep blaming non-realistic? I mean, I understand the whole compounding of things. There's several things. We're getting overtaxed. We're fucking overregulated. There's so many things causing that, but it's not the building prices. It's an unrealistic expectation to think that those building prices are going to somehow miraculously come down as lumber prices are skyrocketing through the roof. I used to be able to build, and I could hire guys. $25 an hour was top pay. $25 an hour won't even get a laborer on your job, on your crew now.
We were talking yesterday about Paul and I were talking about some of these proposed tariffs and what's going to happen with Canada. And little did I know
Canada.
that the lumber that's coming out of Canada, that's a huge market.
What do you think's going to happen to roofing prices in Vermont next year? What do you think's going to happen to building prices in Florida? But do we know? So the old saying goes back to be careful what you wish for. We are all looking for that sledgehammer solution. And we want to burn the system down and start over and hopefully, but what a lot of people don't get is when you burn that system down, it takes forever to rebuild it. So who's going to get the benefits of burning that system down? I'm not, you're not, my kids aren't. It's going to take decades to rebuild the system. So our great grandkids might be able to benefit, but don't we live in a time now where it's about me? That's it. We don't care about our neighbors anymore. We only care about what affects me in the immediate moment.
Comment here from Glenn Brummert saying, yeah, Rex, but who the hell has that kind of money?
Banks are the only ones with that kind of money, and they loan it out to people every single day with a credit score. That's what, nobody's buying these houses cash. Once in a great while, you'll have a lucky sale. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. You'll have a lucky sale of cash, but the majority, they're mortgages. And if people can't afford these mortgages, then we'll have the same crash that we had in the 90s, and I'll go back up and buy all those buildings up again that they couldn't afford. But it's not a housing bubble like that. We're not loaning money out to people who can't afford it. That's not what we're doing. The first housing crash, because I was involved in that. I was building during that time when Clinton, with the housing crash. I had a friend of mine. I was investing. I was buying buildings. He said, sell it. We're about to have a bubble. And I did. I sold a bunch of shit. I wish I hadn't, but I did. And everything crashed because there was the subprime market. People were getting loans that should not have been getting loans. That was back when you could sign a piece of paper saying, hey, I make $10 million a month. They're like, cool, as long as you claim you do, we'll sell you a house, whether you can afford it or not. That's not what's happening right now. That's not what's causing our housing spike. Our housing spike right now is supply and demand. And we cannot build ourselves out of it here in Vermont.
Are you concerned about what's going to happen with lumber coming out of Canada?
I'm concerned with everything. But the problem is in my business, okay, so here I am bitching about this, but I'm going to make way more money. You think next summer when there's no Mexicans here to do roofing, who's doing it? Because we've all got away from roofing because we can't compete with those prices. We just don't. I'm not making my guys kill themselves for nothing. I also have to go by safety and all sorts of stuff like that. So I don't care. So my business is probably going to boom. It doesn't matter what the lumber prices are when your roof is leaking on your head, doesn't it? Old Eddie Barstow used to tell me, he goes, you want a good gauge of how the economy's doing? He goes, when the economy's doing good, people are putting siding, kitchens, and bathrooms on their house. When the economy's bad, they're only buying roofs. I sell both. So I have a trade. I self-protected myself by learning a trade. That's what I did for my own personal life. But there's a lot of people out there going to be hurting. And it's going to be the consumer.
In the news this morning, and you just mentioned immigrants. The Vermont Construction Company. The Vermont Construction Company is partnering up with a Minneapolis-based nonprofit to monitor and enforce labor and housing rights for workers and subcontractors of the company.
Didn't they just get busted for having a whole bunch of illegal immigrants in connexes?
Yes, living in storage containers.
Storage container, that's right. But now they're going to advocate to me on how to fucking treat people?
The organization is called the Building Dignity and Respect Standards Council, and it is going to partner with Vermont's bear with me here. Vermont's Milk with Dignity Standards Council, which monitors workers' rights in the Vermont dairy industry here in Vermont. The preliminary agreement would have the nonprofit oversee the company's job sites and worker housing to ensure basic standards for treatment of workers being met. The agreement is the first of its kind here in Vermont's construction and building
I'm about to lose my mind.
industry, according to Migrant Justice, which is an organization here in Vermont which says that Vermont relies on immigrant workers.
They do.
And
It's a huge part of our economy.
yeah, and accountability within the labor contracting chain.
You'll see Vermont farms getting shut down because they can't. I mean, you got your Vermont farms, your apple pickers, and now your roofers. Same in Florida. You think our economy is based on immigrants? Wait till it hits Florida. You notice where they're picking and choosing the cities to go hunt immigrants in Florida. You notice the red states, they stay away from, they're in Miami, but they're not in Tampa. They're not up around all the building areas around Orlando, Tampa, and all them places. They're specifically pointing out, they're specifically making it hard for the blue states. We're on the revenge tour. We're getting to see it live, firsthand, the thing that we weren't going to have to worry about. But this is a revenge tour. So suck it up, Buttercup. This is where we're at this point. It's, once again, the mindset, the culture that we've turned into is me. Everything is about me. Me only, not my neighbor, not anyone else. Nobody cares about what's happening to somebody else. If you did, I would encourage you to go down there and with the federal troops and walk into the school and help them tear them kids out of there and see the human side of this shit. See the families that have been here for 30 fucking years and then they rip their dads out and go, nah, we don't care that you were a productive part of this. We're taking you. Whatever, man. I didn't vote for that, and I don't care. We needed an immigration reform. We needed that, and if that's the extreme, the people you'll see that. We'll see. We're gonna get exactly what we wish for.
Do you think, Facebook question of the day, do you think that 5 years from now that Vermont is still going to be struggling with affordability and housing?
Absolutely not. In 5 years from now, you'll be lucky to see America as a whole anymore. You will see, I think you're going to see America get broken up like Russia was. And that's exactly what Putin wants ever since we did it to him during the Cold War. Why do you think he's involved in every one of our elections and shit? He would love to see us divided and start a civil war just like we did to him in Russia. That's been Russia's plan. That's been Putin's plan forever. But now all of a sudden he's our buddy? Come on, get the fuck out of here. I don't believe we can project 5 years from now. We're in such a tinderbox. I don't believe that. I barely believe we can fucking plan for next year.
Yeah. That was kind of reflective of my thought this morning driving in. And me and Big Ed Collins have these deep philosophical conversations at 5:30 and 6 o'clock every single morning. Yeah. So I just got a comment here from Michael Poitras, saying, "Laugh my ass off. How are you supposed to have any credibility with this podcast? Is mind-blowing. So much information. What the fuck is wrong with you guys?"
I don't know who Michael Poitras is, but cool opinion, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
But hey, guess what? Well, he's making up that opinion talking about credibility or whatever. You're still watching, ain't you, Michael?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You can't make everybody happy in this world. You just can't.
Right.
Who gives a fuck?
I would love...
I honestly don't care about anybody's opinion if they're not in my circle. Why? Yeah. What does it matter? What is it fucking... I don't care.
I would love for Michael to share what he has to say about all of this. And listen, if anybody knows me, Rex, they know that I don't just because I've got someone on the air or someone posting comments doesn't mean that I agree with every comment
Right.
that
Me
is
and you don't even see eye to eye on
right.
a lot of things.
A lot of
I
things.
lean more liberal than you do, obviously, these days.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still friends with you. I can still be, you know what I mean? I still have friends. I have a lot of friends. Like this whole election thing fucked up a lot of people in their heads.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends like just boom, I can't be friends with you if you voted for them, whatever. And I mean, I feel pretty strongly about all of this stuff, but my friends and my family mean more to me than any fucking politician
Yeah.
in the world.
Michael, I want to say this to Michael, despite his rhetoric with his comment. If you're within a mile of this studio, I will get up and go over and unlock the door and give you a microphone right fucking now for you to express your opinion, no matter what it is.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's what we need. We need platforms where anybody can speak their mind. Anybody, we should be able to speak our mind and get our stuff out there. If you and we should have healthy debates, like the person you just had on there. He spouted off some statistics, so I looked up the statistics and I was like, I don't agree with them. See, we cannot agree,
Sure.
and we can have healthy debates, and we can debate facts, we can debate statistics, we can debate all of that stuff and get it out there. And we don't have to be dicks to each other. We can do it. But the problem is people get angry. They get so emotionally attached to the situation that it turns into a personal, and then blah blah, and you're a piece of shit, and it's hard for people. That's why we leave it to the politicians to debate.
Yeah.
Even myself, man, I get fucking way out of hand. I can get worked up over this shit myself. Ask anybody that follows me on Facebook. And I'm not angry. I'm just very passionate. It's hard for me, just like anybody else. Like, I see things and I'm like, how do you not fucking see that? But then again, there's people look at me and they're like, how the fuck do you not see this? So it works both ways.
You know,
I'll hate no one for it.
What local radio station, what local podcast is diving deep on stuff like this and having a conversation about this locally in our community?
There's not, dude. Nobody. The only thing that they do, each podcast, they have their own agenda. That's what they have. They want you to agree with their side, and that's it. And JD, I honestly say, like, you don't. You want to listen to both sides of it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you have me on there.
Yeah.
So, and I don't agree with you. So, I go against a lot of shit that you say.
Yeah. You know, the purpose, I think, of this podcast more than anything is to connect with people, no matter where they stand or how they feel, and to give them a voice in not just in our community, but in our state and even beyond, to share.
Why not?
To share perspective.
Why is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
Well, how is that a negative? How is that a bad thing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like Joe says, it's the only way we learn and grow. I mean,
Right.
Listen,
if we're not having these hard conversations, somebody needs to be having these hard conversations.
Yeah.
Our politicians aren't. Nobody's sitting down across the aisle and saying, hey, let's talk this out. And I think if we started doing this, a lot of people will find we're not really that far apart. Politicians would make you think that on one issue, like, a politician will convince you that we are so far apart it's not even funny, and that we can't negotiate with them because they're just crazy and extreme on both sides.
Yeah.
When in fact, if you sat down, like, I can sit down with my neighbor is Eddie Blow. Eddie Blow is super extreme. I feel he is a conservative. He is very vocal about it. But the reality is, me and Eddie Blow, we get along fine. I can sit down with Eddie and we can agree on 98% of things. There's a small things that I would do different, but a lot of things we fucking agree on. And most Americans, I feel, are the same way.
Yeah.
It's hard to get past the hyperbole and the partisanship.
Yeah.
Rooting for your team, man. That's the problem. We have teams. What if we didn't have teams? What if we just had representatives that had to stand on their own voting record and no longer stood on their party's voting record? Why would that be a bad thing?
Yeah. I
no
got
longer you don't have a Democrat, you don't have an independent, you don't have anything. You just have a representative.
Yeah. I got crickets from Michael Poitras.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
It is too bad. I'm still waiting for a comment from him. He has an open invite, as does anyone else, to come on the air and voice their opinion about any of this.
You know who I ended up. You know who I sat down. I talked to Jay Smith. He's another one. If you saw our Facebook going back and forth, you would think that we are on total opposite spectrums. But when we actually start digging into the root of it, we are not. We're not even close. Like most of the things we could agree on, we could find, just me and him. And if, like I said, people standing on the outside would think that we are both extremes from the different side. But me and him could sit down. We could come up with bipartisan. Like we've already talked we've talked about shit like this. Like,
yeah,
well, I could agree with that. Fucking right, you could. That's all it takes is starting a conversation.
Yeah,
and having have those hard conversations,
even when we vehemently disagree with each other. Yeah,
but that's the thing. I don't believe we do. I don't think we vehemently disagree.
I'm saying even if we do,
right. Yes, out on the open, out in whatever, there's this huge disagreement or whatever. But when you sit down and you start talking, you're like, okay, wait a minute. I do agree. I think that we should have immigration reform. I think that we should have this. And so there we are. There's that common. I may not agree with how it's happening, how fast it's happening, and the consequences that come with that. But I could sit down with somebody on the right and come up with a plan that both of us could agree on, and you know what I mean? There's never. But I guess that's because we're Americans and our politicians are someone else. I don't know who they are. They're so out of touch from us.
Yeah.
They don't. I just don't understand how they can represent us, because they don't represent us. How can they acknowledge? How can they address our struggles when they've never had that struggle themselves?
Right.
So I find that's hard for me. I don't know. But the reason I called is because I just got done building that house, and I know what it costs to build it out of pocket. So could we have cut corners? Yeah, I could have saved. Could have saved nickels and dimes here and there a little bit, but I'm still not building a 2,800 square foot house for $200,000, and that's a 3-bedroom, 2,800 square foot house. It's nothing. It's not enormous. It's not, but it's supply and demand.
I appreciate you calling me this morning, Rex. Friday morning.
I wasn't expecting to get on air, man. I was calling up to give you shit.
Well, listen.
I didn't have time to be online. I got shit I got to do, man.
All right, get back to it. I'll see you Friday morning.
All right, buddy. I'll call you when you're not online.
All right.
Douchebag throwing me out there and putting me on the spot like that.
Friday morning, you'll be with me.
Of course I will.
All right. Boy, we've got it all set up and ready to go. Have a great day, buddy.
All right, man. You take care.
Right. Oh, my goodness. What else is going on in Vermont news? We have a 47-year-old woman who was seriously injured last night in that crash in Milton on 89. Car crashed through the guardrail and rolled down an embankment. From what we know, she is recovering from her injuries, but that was a big story last night. I think it was around, 7:45, 8 o'clock or so. Please drive carefully, gang. The Vernon man who hit the teenager with his vehicle last week has been arrested. 67-year-old David Knapp of Vernon hit this teenager who was getting off of a school bus. Police say that he was negligently operating his vehicle and left the scene of the accident. He was cited and released, and he is due in court next month. Here in Washington County, Twinfield Union School District, all classes canceled today because so many students and staff are ill. It's the norovirus, it's the flu, it's RSV, it's all of this stuff. Wow. We have a Barry man who was sentenced yesterday for his role in an overdose death in May of 2023. Ben Weater, who pleaded guilty for dispensing a drug with death resulting the night before Mother's Day, 2023. 19-year-old Tyler Matthews asked Weater for fentanyl, which he used that night and overdosed in his sleep. His mom found him dead in his bed the next morning. The judge gave Weater a 1-year sentence behind bars and 10 years probation after that. Whew. On Friday, the blood pressure's a little high this morning. On Friday, a Trump administration order halted the spending of money that supports recent immigrant arrivals. And this has affected about 60 Vermont refugees. The U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants in Vermont gets $1,650 per person to help refugees in their first 90 days in Vermont. But that ends immediately. The committee will also be laying off staff as a result. 3.8 magnitude earthquake, York Harbor, Maine. Yesterday, felt in every state in New England, and apparently here in Barrie it was felt. Again, every state in New England. What was it, 10, 22, 24, something like that yesterday? Did I feel it? Of course I didn't. National headlines, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention ordered, and there's a lot of stuff in the national news, but just a couple of them here, ordered to suspend collaboration on World Health Organization projects following last week's executive order from President Trump. It's a big ticket story in the news. Wow. President Trump signing executive orders to reshape the military, including reinstating service members discharged for declining the COVID-19 vaccine. Wow. There's just so much going on. so much going on. I say this, escape it all if you can and get to a movie. Get to the Paramount Theater in Barrie. Get to the Capitol Showplace 5 in Montpelier. Get out there and go to a movie and rediscover all of the fun and excitement of surprising your family and taking them out to the movies. FGBtheaters.com for advance tickets, and even grab an FGB card. Tickets are on sale now for all kinds of movies. At the Capitol, they got Brave the Dark, Complete Unknown, which I still haven't seen, and I've had some friends that have seen it, and they said it's amazing. Flight Risk, supposed to be a great movie. Mufasa, the Lion King, and Wicked are still at the Capitol Theater. Let's see, what else? What's coming? Companion, Heart Dies, Love Hurts, Amateur. These are all movies that are coming, and you can get tickets for them right now. Wolfman is playing at the Paramount here in Barrie. Get out to the movies if you can. Get some popcorn with real Cabot butter on it, and kick back, relax, recline back, enjoy a beverage, and enjoy a movie. Tomorrow morning, again, Brandy and Anthony from the VT Coyotes going to be in here talking about this gargantuan tournament coming up at Windsor High School and how things are shaping up for the team, which is going to be making their home here in the Granite City in less than a year. Amazing. Mental Health Advocacy Day tomorrow, beginning at 8 a.m. In Montpelier at the, just all over Montpelier. The State House is going to be part of it. I will post up the entire schedule, what to expect. Washington County Mental Health putting this on. It is going to be huge. Hopefully, you'll be there. Hopefully, you'll get a chance to see and hear a lot of testimony that is coming in from mental health experts in our state, where we're at, where we need to be, and more tomorrow. Again, we'll post up the full schedule for you. Don't forget G-Spot on Thursday. Rex will be in Friday. Do we have a lot to talk about? Oh, my God, do we ever? It is going to be a very, very busy rest of the week. Listen, stay warm. Try to at least, 17, I think, 18 maybe, but below 20 for most of us in Vermont today. Tomorrow, warming up a little bit, 30 degrees or so, something like that. Yeah. And then we're back to the cold temperatures on Thursday. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And once again, Michael Poitras, would love to have you on the air with me. Come on in here. You got a microphone waiting for you. You all do. Thanks for all of the comments. Thanks to all of our presenting and supporting sponsors, making Central Vermont's podcast possible each and every morning, live from North Main Street in Barrie from Fly on the Wall Productions. Always live, always local, never edited, never recorded, 100% organic, real, raw, relevant, and relatable. You bet. Thanks, everybody.